Hey guys, in this episode, you're going to listen to my partner, Cody Barton, who I rarely have on the channel. Him and I used to do a podcast together. Now he has his own podcast called That's Not My Job and his own YouTube channel. He's killing the game. But in this episode, we're going to be pointing out a couple of really cool things. How can I find an integrator? What should integrators be doing? And why the hell should I have an integrator in the first place? Cody and I run the Gator community together. This is the dream team for Gator. If you ever wonder who's running the behind the scenes, it's Cody. All right, so one thing before we get into the episode, click the link down below. We have a training coming up on November 18th at 10 a.m. We're going to be releasing Gator 3.0, and I can't wait to share that with the world. And Cody's also working on a special project called Integrator Academy.io, where you can find a clone of Cody. He's actually creating a clone machine where he's cloning himself. It's going to be great. Enjoy the episode. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we've got my business partner, Cody Barton, with us, and we're going to be talking about integration and visualization. What's the difference between a visionary and an integrator, and what should integrators be working on, and how do I know if I'm an integrator or not? Because I would imagine that Cody Barton, when you first got into business, you probably didn't know that you had some integration or integrator tendencies.
No, I mean, it's the whole conversation of like when you go on Instagram or on YouTube, it's like, you got to be a closer, you need to be a marketer, or you're a POS, basically. It's like, if you can't do those things, then you're a horrible human being. Like, that's how it feels from the integrator side, really.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't know that either, right? I partnered with visionary in my life. And for those of you guys that don't know this, my wife did not love Cody when we first partnered up, because my wife had my history to go off of, which was partnering with another Pace Morby, another visionary, another lunatic, chaotic human being, creating ideas and running really fast. Those two things create absolute chaos. And so I had partnerships that broke up. When Cody and I partnered up, even when things were going really great on like day one, my wife was rejecting this new partnership because all she knew was, oh my gosh, Pace is a horrible business partner. Or no, Pace always gets really bad business partners. The reality is I just didn't have an integrator.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the thing about it too is like, when you are a certain type of person, you naturally want to just kind of work with someone that's also like you, you know? And it's like people that it's like fun and the conversations are the same. Like, you can both get excited about selling. You could both get excited about marketing, and neither of you are excited to talk about, hey, let's like get our administrative and operation side and our finance management like super organized. Like, that's not
What are
exciting.
some things that if I'm watching this and I don't know what an integrator and visionary dynamic, I don't know what an integrator is, what would you say an integrator is in a minute or less?
So the first thing I would say is, if you're a visionary, know thyself and be blessed. If you are an integrator, know thyself and be stressed. So that's, my starting statement on that. But as an integrator, you are really taking this complex vision of the visionary and like all of these ideas that are being thrown out there. And what your job is to, kind of decipher between those things, like pick all of those pieces up and then put them into a conveyor belt. It's like the visionary has the entire conveyor belt of what something should be. And your job is really to take all of the pieces that are maybe a little bit scattered around and like, how do we like put all of these together so we have a flowing and humming organization? Like, you are where the traction becomes real in a business by taking all of the amazingness of the sales and marketing from the visionary and putting it into an organized fashion so that the company can achieve scale. Like, you are building the team, you are hiring, you are, helping the organization grow and create the infrastructure behind it.
Yeah, so let's get really specific. Cody and I own, I'd say 4 or 5 businesses together. Start Virtual, manifestu.com, great website. Go check that out, manifestu.com. One of the things that we do together is Gator, right? The Gator community is something that we built. So let's talk about visionary versus integrator. Visionary, I call Cody up. This is March of 2022. And I go, I got this idea and it needs to launch right now. It needs to launch right now. It's the greatest thing. It's going to change the game. And I'm like, let's go. In fact, my go thing, I had already started talking about it on YouTube before I even told my partner, my integrator, about it. It was like, bro, I've already done 3 episodes on it. I've already done this thing. We need to have graphics. We need to have all these things. This is where it needs to go. And it basically took a better part of like 7, maybe 8 months to build workbooks, build a team, backfill employees, customer support, people that are going to be handling tickets. You're going to have somebody that comes into Gator, joins the Gator community and says, hey, I didn't get an email. Well, actually, yes, you did. You just didn't check your spam box. But how do you communicate with somebody is actually having an employee on the team in that role doing that thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then the whole entire car basically falls off the road. And so the vision or the product came from me. What the community should look like and the culture and all of those things came from me. But then Cody, I basically bring Cody all these parts and he goes, well, first off, some of the parts are missing. And second off, I have to put this all together. And sometimes it's trial and error. It's like, oh, I put the front tires on the back. Like some cars, you have bigger tires on the back than you do in the front. Okay, well, I got to switch this around. And that might take a couple of months. You might have an employee that you hire from day one. I didn't do any of the hiring. I might find people because that's another visionary thing.
Yeah. Finding talent, attracting people to the tribe. And I bring them to the table. I go, Cody, this person's amazing. We should hire them. And Cody is like, all right, I'll try them out. He has to try them out. He has to put them in certain positions and try them out. And if they don't work out, either upgrade them to a different position or move them sideways. Or unfortunately have the conversation of Pace brought you on this team and I'm so sorry I have to let you go because he's an idiot. So the integration for all of that, any specifics that you could talk about, maybe about Gator, because everybody knows Gator pretty well. And so maybe giving them some inner workings of problems or issues or maybe things that you're even working on as an integrator to upgrade that community would be probably helpful for people. Yeah, so super boring stuff, but just like on the customer service side, like where Pace was talking about, it's like, okay, like customers are going to come in, they're going to buy this product. They're going to, there's going to need to be the platform online that the product is hosted on. And then when people are coming in and they have questions about the product, they're like, hey, like I can't find this, or hey, I need to change my card on file for the thing, or hey, that's going to my wrong email, or hey, I accidentally deleted, whatever. It's like building out a customer service team, tracking the KPIs behind that, because our goal is to be able to support the customers with your vision of wanting to create raving fans, because everything that you do is about creating raving fans and amazing community. And so on our internal side, when we're looking at like the customer success process, like we don't call our customer service department a customer service department. We call it customer success. And so it's how do we create success in all areas, even the little things like in their email support, like how fast we're responding to people. Like those are all things that become super important and that we really harped on for the first 6 months after launching, was like how quickly are we getting to the customers, how quickly are we resolving their problems, and then how many problems are we getting on a weekly basis. So then we can come to you and say, hey, the customers are experiencing this in onboarding. Can we create maybe some videos around this, or what are other things that we can create to just make it a more amazing experience and like a frictionless experience. So those are a lot of little things that we look at on the customer success side. And then having, the team doing surveys, like boring things like surveys, like, hey, like, what are your favorite things? What are the things that you don't like? What do you wish there was more of?
Yeah.
On a 1 to 10, like, what would you rate the program so far? What's the gap? Why aren't we a 10? And getting that feedback and being able to, bring that back to you. And so it's a lot of like nurturing the community and then making sure, again, then bringing your vision of like, we need to have this type of person in the community. It's like, all right, well, let's figure out getting that person.
Yeah, like a recent hire we just brought on is, I would call her the community cheerleader. And her job is to go through the Facebook group and count all the wins that are going on a daily basis. We've got people, I'm putting out a YouTube video here in the next week or so from one student I met hiking in Vegas. Again, that's my job, community, right? I'll fly around the country, 110 cities this year, love on people, get to know them because I truly want to know them. I wake up and that's my desire. And I'm on a hike with this guy named Chris, and he's like, I'm making $100,000 a month in Gator, and I have major problems. And his problems are he needs an integrator. Like, it's ironic that the vision of Gator then needed an integrator, and because that whole Gator tribe has done so well, now a Gator's making so much money that now he needs an integrator. And so I go, well, there's all these wins that are going on inside this Facebook group. We got to track these so I can find out why are they doing this or what special things are they doing, because I might train as the visionary, might train on here's how to go land Gator deals. But people take the training and they actually do a better job than I ever did because they get creative or they have their own personality attached to it. And I want to know, like, what are you doing differently so we can share it with the rest of the community? So we just hired a new person that's going to sit in the Facebook group, and she's basically the community cheerleader. She's going to cheer on people and highlight their wins so that we can all learn from people's wins. That's a new employee that I will never have to manage as a visionary, because if I did, not that I don't want to, if I did, what would typically happen? Would I give them a raise when I shouldn't?
They'd call you when they have a flat tire, and you'd give them $1,000, and then they'd want to take a week off because they stubbed their pinky toe, and you'd be like, sure, take a week off, and then they wouldn't do what they're supposed to, and then there'd be problems in the community. I mean, it's just it's I think it's your blessing and the curse of, like, you're so nice and you just want to love on people and you want to help them so much, and like you want them to live well and like be happy. But
I think this goes back to, like, why do 92% of businesses never hit $1 million a year in revenue? I would say a big part of it is they don't have an integrator. They're not blending those two activities together, because you and I, although we do live in somewhat different worlds, we overlap on a lot of things. And if you don't have you balancing out my gifts, and same thing balancing out your gift, your gift is bringing order, and your gift is creating structure and giving people a clear path and making sure that these team members that are on our team have a future, a really bright future. If it was up to me, I'd give everybody a $20,000 bonus every single month. And then what they do is they'd quit in 3 months, and then nobody has a future because we don't have a company, right? One thing that we're releasing, and actually this will be good for you guys, we'll try and release this coming week. We have a training coming up on November 18th, I believe, at 10 a.m. Arizona time. And we're actually releasing a new version, a new chapter of Gator. As the vision has always been with Gator, is Gator 0 through Gator 7. There's 7 strategies in Gator, and we're releasing Gator 3.0 on November 18th, at least the training behind it. So if you guys want some free training, come hang out with us on November 18th. We'll put a link down below. But here's a question. Gator 3.0 is a vision that came from this idea of going out and finding businesses that need capital, and then giving our Gators access to that capital so they can make a ton of money. Right? I brought, what did I do? What did I do? And then what did you have to do in the meantime in order for us to be prepared for November 18th?
I mean, just with the Gator 3.0, I mean, the relationship of the lending for these businesses, number one, I mean, that's a big thing. And also, a billionaire that's behind the lending for those businesses is a massive thing. And the opportunity.
So that's what I brought to the table.
I mean, that's one piece of it.
Yeah, that's one piece of it. But I'm just saying, like, for people that are trying to understand, how do Cody and Pace work together? How does the Gator world work so well? And why is it growing so rapidly? What is Pace doing, and what is Cody doing, right? So you're saying Pace brought some relationships. I bring that relationship to the table. Then what do you do with it?
Basically, it's like, a relay race. Like, you pass the baton, I grab the baton, and then I bring that baton to the team, and I'm like, multiple team members, hey, project manager, I need you to do these things for this. Hey, senior community success manager, I need you to do these things for this. Hey, content team, this stuff's going to be changing upcoming. Like, these things are going to need to change, and we're going to need to update these. It's like dispersing all of the information to the team, and then passing the baton to the right people to then go and run and do the things they need to do, so that the training and the things could be built around what you're wanting to see be created. And then communicating to the team, like, okay, like, what's the time frame? Is this, what order of importance on the other things we're working on? Like, do we need to shift priorities? Like, where does this fall in line? Like, what does that need to look like?
So guys, while Cody's doing that, which takes months, right? Cody's having multiple, I get copied on the emails, probably not even half of them, maybe not even 10% of them. I'll get copied on the emails that Cody is running meetings behind the scenes. So I bring the lender and the billionaire to the table that's going to fund the capital for the Gators in Gator 3.0. So Gators don't have to have any cash out of their own pocket. Cody has to make sure that the legal stuff is done, the paperwork is done, the team knows what's going on, what happens if, the what if. But meanwhile, while he's doing that takes months, I am now back in the community doing deals with people, loving on them, building culture, connection, and community. So this is why this dichotomy or this dual relationship works so incredibly well, is because we're doing things. I may be doing a lot of the front end stuff. Cody's doing the middle and the back end. And he's bringing a team to the table to be able to handle those things. So whatever your business is, whatever it is, what I would suggest is write down those things. Like, I can tell you as a visionary, if I was listening to Cody right now saying, oh yeah, I'm doing this and I'm relating, I'm communicating, I'm doing all these things, I'd be like, where the F can I find a Cody Barton? So Cody, a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
One, do most integrators know that they're integrators?
Maybe they're closet integrators, but I think because there's so much on social media about being a great closer or a great marketer that it like makes people think like I have to be that to be successful. But I think deep down people should, realize like where their unique abilities. It's like when you wake up in the morning thinking about the things that you want to do. Like when both of us wake up in the morning, we both think about what things get us excited to work on in the business. So I think like as an integrator, I wake up getting excited about, okay, what does the team look like? What is our structure? How can we like restructure our org chart to accomplish the things that we're trying to accomplish? And for you, it's like, I want to build all these really cool things. And then I could look at that and it's like a complex puzzle. And it's like, how can we put this puzzle together when there's like, missing pieces that we need to go and figure out what those pieces are and then bring it together. And just seeing like this thing come together is like the most exciting part for me. It's like seeing like that. All the complexities get smoothed out over time. Super fun.
We bought a company 7 or 8 months ago. A company, I find the company, I negotiate the deal for the most part. We then pass the baton to Cody and Ben, our CFO. They go through the numbers. They then structure and dig all the stuff out that I didn't dig out regarding like IRS financials and those types of things. Ben's laughing at me because I just picked my nose, guys, just so you know. Ben's like, Pace does not care. I'm on my YouTube channel, guys. This is my YouTube channel. I can do what I want, right? Picking both of my noses. So then that relationship passes on to Ben and Cody to like verify everything and then go close the deal. Meanwhile, I'm either out promoting the new company or maybe going and looking for a new thing or whatever else. I call myself a golden retriever. My job is to retrieve the gold. I go out in the field and I'm rummaging through the field and I'm looking for the gold to bring it back. That's the stupid visionary's job. Now, if I'm an integrator and I don't know it, what's a great book to tell whether I'm an integrator or a visionary? Is there a book out there?
Oh yeah, I mean the number one book on that would probably be Rocket Fuel by Gino Wickman.
I've read it 5 times. It's so good.
It's literally in there. It has you do a little quiz if you get the physical version.
Right.
And if you're a visionary, you're probably going to listen to the audio. But if you're an integrator, you're probably going to listen.
I feel
you're
so
going to
exposed
read
right
the
now.
physical version.
I read probably the first 3 chapters of the book, and then I was like, I got to do audiobook. But I've listened to it 5 times, and every time I listen to it, I learned something new. And the challenge, I think, is that everybody has a little bit mixture of both, right?
Yeah, like you have tendencies on either side. Like, there's certain things that like you're really organized and like really hyper focused on, that are more integrator tendencies and, and vice versa. There's
like
things.
you were on stage today or yesterday for the Dealmaker event that we're at, and you crushed it on stage. You're funny. You can engage the audience. And most people would think an integrator is a guy with like bifocals that pushes his glasses up his nose every 30 seconds. Cody has a lot of visionary tendencies. And I think there's even times where you probably even have to quiet those down and amplify your integrator tendencies to make sure that you're bringing what you need to the table, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, because there's like everyone gets like a vision of like how they want to see things happen. And it's like, just recognizing like I get to roll out like some of those visionary things through like the team that we build or like the way that the structure of the organization is. And like that becomes fun because it's like you can kind of like shift around things and seeing the vision of like how the organization comes together is vision. Like those are fun. Like it's like that's part of like seeing.
The problem with this is that I don't feel like there's enough integrator. There's definitely not enough seminars, right? Here we are at a seminar, 3-day event called Dealmaker. I would say the majority of the people in that room are visionaries.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel like there's enough education. There's not enough workshops. There's not enough seminars that it's like, hey guys, let's do it. Or they're really bad at marketing because they don't have a visionary.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But are you working on anything that can help people in the future? And whether it's 2024 or 2025, are you working on anything that's going to help the future integrators, one, discover who they are, or two, maybe let visionaries find integrators. And if I could have bought you and I had the money, I mean, it's $1 million relationship. It's a $30 million relationship a year, basically. So buy people that basically say, hey, find me an integrator type of thing. And then 3, have ongoing support for integrators so they can have future training, because I feel like it's a big need in the industry.
Yeah, and that's something, we were talking about in our, pre-planning to our annual planning coming up, is when would it make sense to have something like this roll out?
By the way, that's like the nastiest, sexiest, dirty talk you could ever say to an integrator is like, hey, let's have a pre-planning meeting for this future planning meeting. A visionary is like breaking out in hives, and an integrator is like, yes, let's plan to do a plan. But so in our pre-plan, what were we doing?
Yeah, talking about, something I'm working on behind the scenes is really the Integrator Academy, which is, right now, integratoracademy.io, working on putting together.
Guys, there's a wait list, okay?
Yeah,
there's 2 things I would tell you. One, if you're an integrator and you're like, I need to learn from Cody. I need to learn what he's doing, because he's taking an idea and turning it into a $40 million business, right? That's integrator. You need to learn if you, one, want to be an integrator, or B, if you're a visionary going, I don't know how to find Cody, I would also get on the waiting list, because integratoracademy.io is going to be a waiting list for both integrators and visionaries. I think it's going to have resources for both, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like the vision really with that is like creating the place where like integrators can actually go to connect, because like most of them are like in the corners of like rooms at events, and like when there's like happy hour, it's like I break out in hives because I'm like, oh, I need to go stand around these circular tables and like go talk to people. Like that's like the worst thing ever for me. And so there's a lot of other people like integrators that probably feel that way. And so creating this place where they're going to be able to connect, and also for me to learn from selfishly is like, I'm going to create this for other integrators to connect. And then I get the opportunity to then, network with those people and learn the things that they're doing that are, also doing really well. And then for visionaries to go fishing for their integrator. It's like creating that, atmosphere, that environment of people that are.
Hopefully you don't have just a room full of visionaries saying, I came here for the integrators and all the tickets get sold to visionaries. So, who is one of your heroes? We're 3 minutes late. I want to wrap this up with a couple of questions. Who's one of your heroes that's an integrator? I'll give you one that I like. Okay. Brandon Dawson.
Yeah.
I feel like I shared a recording of him with you, a mastermind. I was at Grant Cardone's office. There's like 20 of us, and watching and listening to him, he's just been through a lot of
Yeah.
Right? He's been through a lot of the levels, and he knows the pain points and the gaps where every single layer of like, oh, a company with doing $1 million, $5 million, $7 million, $9 million, $25 million, $100 million. I know all their breaking points, and I know everything that they're going to have to go through. As one of the integrators, I'm like, oh, that's a future Cody is a Brandon Dawson for me. Yeah, is there anybody else? Do you like Brandon Dawson one?
Yeah.
And is there somebody else that you like that you're like, that guy's the shit?
Yeah. I mean, I would say Brandon Dawson is in like up there, either number one or within the, the top two. But because the thing with Brandon is like, he's, he has visionary tendencies as well, but it's really been amazing to see what he's done. I've been to a lot of his training. So I would say definitely Brandon Dawson is up there. And another one would be, I've went through a lot of, and I was a part of his mastermind for a little while, which is the COO Alliance, which is Cameron Harold. And so he has, programs around, his entire, community is like called the COO Alliance, and it's like companies that are 5 million plus in revenue, and it's only, second in command, like the COOs of companies. And so
it's kind of sad, but it's true. Do you know the drummer of John Mayer's band? Do you know the drummer of Metallica?
No.
Okay, this is the problem, right? It's like you could have James Hetfield, who's the lead singer of Metallica, right? He's the figurehead of the band Metallica. He sounds good in a cappella, right? He sounds good maybe doing a solo guitar act, But dude, when you bring the whole band involved, it amplifies it 10x, right? And the problem is nobody that's playing the guitar, like the backup guitar or the drums or the bass, nobody ever knows their name. And I think that that's one of the sad parts about integrators is that you guys take a business from, you know, again, the statistics are 92% of people never hit $1 million a year or more. Yeah. Which means they're missing the integration. The people who figure out, hey, I need an integrator, and then finding great relationships and continually working on themselves and backfilling all these positions are the ones that get into that 8% and then ultimately get into 1% of the 1% of the income earners. It's sad, but is that something that you have to kind of live with? Or like, oh, let Pace's dumb face take all the credit. Do you get any of that?
I mean, there's like times, cause it's like integrator could be kind of a thankless thing, but it's like, I don't get filled up from that. I get more filled up from like seeing like what our team is building and like seeing the things run. And like, ultimately I'm like, you know, how can I build this thing where it runs so well, where like, I don't even have to be involved, but I want to be involved. So I'll stay involved, you know? So it's like, that's really where I get filled up. But you know, on the answer to that question, it's like Cameron Harold's been a big one. And honestly, John Maxwell is, and I don't know if he's an integrator, but like
he's phenomenal training.
But his books on leadership are just amazing. And as an integrator, like leadership is one of the most important skills that an integrator has to become great at, because your leadership lid is going to determine the growth of the company.
Leadership lid. These are things that integrators talk about behind closed doors. Just dirty talk to each other. Okay, so let's wrap this up. I just want to point out a couple of things to you guys. Number one, go to integratoracademy.io. Get on the waiting list. Again, it's good for integrators and great for visionaries that are looking for future integrators. And then the second thing is November 18th, we have a training. We're going to be talking about Gator 3.0, and we're bringing a billionaire to the table to fund these business transactions, which will be amazing. I'll be talking about that on a 10 a.m. webinar on November 18th. And go give Cody some love on his YouTube channel. We'll put a link down there below. Also, shoot him a DM, because integrators have a thankless position. I thank you from time to time.
You thank me, yeah. I would say it's more like out in the world. It's like, you know, if we're at an event and it's like, you know, going up to someone, they're like, "Did you know Pace Morby's here?" And I'm like, "No way."
Oh my!
I'm like, dude,
I have to talk to him. You think you get to talk to him? I have to talk to him. Guys, go give Cody some love, and we'll see you on another episode.